runs out. Tick tock, the video. Tick tock, the time runs out.
Stand up now or fade down.
Tick tock, the time video. Tick tock, the time runs out.
They lock us down, steal our rights, sell us dreams to dim the fight. Tell us wait, just trust the plan, while they take more from our hands. But we ain't sleeping, we ain't blind. We see the games, we read the signs. No more silence, no more shame. Get mad, get loud, ignite the flame. Get mad, get loud, shake the ground, wake up the crowd.
Get that no sound, brother.
No backing down. This is our fight. This is our sound.
Check, check. You good, Mike?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, the sound went out on the music. Oh, everybody can hear it but me. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Mike.
All right. So it's a hey, welcome, everybody. Oh man. It is it is a wonderful day in the neighborhood, and it's been very, very, very busy. There is tons being passed around. One of the things that that's being passed around. One of the things that I thought was pretty funny today was this right here. A lot of people thought this lady was talking about Mike Pence and first started commenting about it, and she corrected them all and told them she was talking about me. Mike P is supposedly deep state turning on Trump. Remember, Q said, watch who you follow. I need to remind myself too. And then someone blames the Doug Kuzma's death on me in the comments here. And I don't think that part is funny, but you know, it's just amazing how some people have grown, and some are still right where they started. I don't have anything bad to say about this lady that posted this, but I just wanted to let everybody know that, you know, we're going to run into this, and it's okay. All right. That doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that she's necessarily a bad person. She just hasn't grown. All right. And she hasn't gone within. And you know, that's all, everything she says and puts out is up to her. It is what it is. All right. Sheepdog's in the house with us tonight, and everybody's still jumping on. I'm going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to share. One of the things that hit a while ago, what is this right here? The mainstream media, all media outlets now confirm Trump is the Pope. That's right, folks. The sacred hat has landed. Okay. CNN said it. MSNBC confirmed it. And even that weird guy on YouTube with 12 followers is not in solemnly in agreement. So it must be true, right? The media never lies, never exaggerates, never bends reality into a pretzel just to keep eyeballs glued to a screen. Pope Trump now reigns. Pope Trump now
Oh,
reigns from the now reigns from the golden throne, issuing decrees like, "Thou shalt build a wall around sin, make heaven great again." Fake commandments. I only follow the real 10. So what do? Do we celebrate? Do we cry? Do we light a candle? Do we burn incense? Honestly, whatever floats your boat or holy ark, right? One thing's for sure: the smoke is white, the memes are plenty, and the timeline is officially broken.
get your Trump Bibles out, folks.
Right? Welcome to the Clown World Vatican Edition. Confess your thoughts or just throw some holy shade.
That's a holy ship show, Mike.
Yeah, right. Oh, the media outlets. The media outlets. This shit is getting really funny.
What is that picture?
Oh, check it out. Orange
Oh,
man.
Orange man. What the hell? Yep, it's official, folks. It's official.
New Pope. New Pope. Oh. Oh my gosh.
That might be Agent Orange, Mike.
Oh my. Oh my. No, no, no. Don't say that.
Put your mask on.
Right? Oh. Oh.
He's saying he's number one right there.
Right? Right. So, oh, this is hilarious. It baffles me that the mainstream media jumped in on this, and it tells you that the clowns really are running the script, right? Another good thing that came out on another note. Sheepdog wrote this post yesterday from his heart. It just came to him, and he spit it out.
Oh shit, Mike, you're doing that again? They're gonna light your ass up in that chat. You need to put a disclaimer on there.
Right? I should have. And they did light me up, but that's okay. There's 148 comments. It's only been posted. It's only been posted for 6 hours. But he wrote his post, and he wrote it from his heart as it came to him. Kind of, like a good example of what happens when you go out and you sit in nature and you ask the ether for the answers to the questions you've been having, right? And we do that often here with the show and on the show. Trump is the new pope. Yep. Oh. Okay, so it says, remember, I'm going to drain the swamp. Comments for the last 10 years. How about arrest of Hillary Clinton? Remember lock her up rallies? That's just 2 right off the bat. I'm sure others in chat can add to this. Repeal the Patriot Act. Repeal the Smith-Month Act, 2012. Jeffrey Epstein files. Arrest the people that Maxwell and Epstein trafficked children to. He said America first. Instead, we got make Israel great again, and trillions were sent to Israel. No more wars. Then he turned around and bombed another country on top of having threats of war with Iran, all for Israel. He said he wouldn't have time to golf because he would be too busy working for the people. However, he is at the golf course every weekend. 0 arrests have been made, and we are 362 days into Make America Great Again, PSYOP. 3,632 days. Sorry about that. um, into Make America Great Again psyop. In other words, his third term. Many people voted for him to drain the swamp, but that hasn't happened. Homeless veterans haven't lifted a finger for them or any homeless Americans in reality. He talks a big game. Nothing has changed in 10 years. He has been in D.C., aka the District of Criminals. That's a good one right there, too, right? The Federal Reserve needs to be abolished. The 2020 election was stolen and nobody was held accountable. COVID-19, aka the scamdemic, nobody has been arrested or held accountable or charged for murder or crimes against humanity. If you need more, have more. Promises made and kept are lies. Nothing but propaganda and kicking the can. People want justice for their loved ones because of what happened during the scandemic. And you damn right we do, right? Right on back to Doug Kuzma, our friend, who was killed by the Flynn network. 800,000 women and children go missing yearly in America alone, and that has been kept on the back burner. Human trafficking. They got blackmail on all these politicians, including Trump. So I'm sure that's why their hands are tied. The people will have to drop the hammer, which is what it looks like now. AIPAC owns the United States corporation and every politician in D.C. and locally. Our local law enforcement trains in a foreign country, Israel. That is not good. The FBI is corrupt and still sitting on their hands. Dismantle the CIA. Stop property taxes that fund the shadow government, aka AIPAC, aka Israel. What happened to save the children? Yet Big Pharma is still able to target our children. People are losing their jobs, low-paying, dead-end jobs galore. My list is long and goes back 10 plus years. The 100-day celebration is gaslighting at its finest. No other president has ever stopped and massaged their own ego like that in American history. We have the elderly in the world barely making ends meet financially. Healthcare is horrible. Our elderly deserve better than this bullshit. J6ers were set up by the feds. Ashley Babbitt's mom still hasn't gotten justice. Over 50% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. Food is too high. Gas, utilities, cost of living, transportation is unaffordable, and people can't afford a new car. Yet we are being propagandized into believing this is the most successful administration in American history. I'm calling bullshit. Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining. Fauci hasn't been held accountable, and I'm missing something. There is too much to list. And if I'm missing something, there's too much to list. Our money needs to be gold back, no more fiat currency. Stop the psychological operations. Law enforcement is still operating under the Patriot Act, where every American is treated like a terrorist in their own country. Veterans are filling up the private prison systems instead of getting the help they need. Victimless crimes. The corporations need to be brought to their knees. Small businesses were shut down during the scandemic, never to return. Billions were sent to Big Pharma and the hospitals to help facilitate the murder of Americans. The 9/11 files, the Oklahoma City bombing files. No justice has been served at all. Hope that helps, electric girl. Flynn blames Obama and Trump blames Biden. Yet Obama and Biden weren't the ones that released the bioweapons on Americans. It was the Trump administration. Biden has been MIA for years now. More mRNA bioweapons are on the way. Folks, that isn't to turn on Trump. That's just to tell you what the reality is. So you quit getting caught up in it. Yes, I think we all can agree, or we all should agree to some extent. You don't have to agree with me or all of us. But Trump is the liquidator. He is the last president. He told us he was the last president. That's why we know he's 3,600 and some days in on his third term. That's how we know that not only was the 2020 election a political theater, not even an election of sorts. It was a show. It was the start of the shit show because we all knew in 2020 that we all should have known in 2020 that the presidents were never elected. They've been selected. Okay, your vote is never counted.
Yeah, the Electoral College picks the president. That's what's in the Constitution.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people don't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but a lot of people do. But most of America doesn't know. And once they realize that, they'll stop. They'll start focusing more on local instead of expecting the federal government to come in and clean up their mess. Which, when that happens, you end up having unconstitutional things happen, like the FBI coming in looking for immigrants in your home without a warrant. Yeah, that's what happens when they psyop you into things.
yeah. So, Sheepdog, I want to applaud you and sir, and thank you for putting that together. And I shared it on Facebook today from Telegram. And if you'll notice the meme that goes along with it, we got a new pope. But hey, look, no one's been arrested at clock again, right?
Shit. Damn it. Hey, look over there.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, which is my next piece. Okay. So some people are touting the fact that some people are touting the fact that we are, you know, the initiation of the war, or the propaganda of the war. Oh, we don't know if the war is happening for real or not. Okay. Um, it seems like it's about. I mean, there is a war happening. It's against the people, right? Um, but the war, the Crusade War. We don't know if that's happening or not. There's a lot of propaganda surrounding it, yada yada yada. But they said it's the move that Trump made recently with it over there is the start of the QFS and Gusara, not Nasara, but Gusara. When we shared documentation that there is no such thing as Gusara. Okay, it's all Nasara and it's a synthetic reset, folks. Nasara is a synthetic reset. Yes, it's going to help us some, but it's going to be brief because it's part of the cleanup. Trump has a job to do, and that's to liquidate the assets of the corporation. Okay, that's why they call him the liquidator. The Empress has been on live recently telling you to quit participating in the Matrix. Okay, either start your own nation or join one of theirs. All right. What's going on over there is going to take a lot of people down if they continue to stay caught up in it. All right. This isn't just for shits and giggles. But the Empress also told us, along with Rod and Taj and many others, many others. It's just not them few. All right. That the courts were going to start coming down soon. That these judges, even Trump said that out of his own mouth, not long ago on the steps of the Capitol. Not long ago, I can't remember exactly when it was, but you'll start seeing these judges and lawyers get arrested. All right, so we've got boots on the ground, right? We have more than 20 listeners in every county in the country. Thank you. Much gratitude to each and every one of you. I spend a lot of time during the day talking to as many of you as I can. We have a lot of irons in the fire with people defending themselves against these falsehood called taxes and the fraudulent contracts that they did not know were fraudulent. Now they do. And the corporation being deemed by law the responsibility for all debt, not us. So there's a lot of irons in the fire, right? And we're going to talk about this more as the show goes on. But I wanted to give you some good news. Okay. I posted the 2 books last night from Rod that the Empress said for us all to use to follow the instructions of being recognized by the UN. Okay, you can be adopted by one of the original organic original tribes that are on the land near where you live, or you can start your own. All right, True Seekers is going to start our own tribe because we're all over the country. But you know, in each state, like here in North Carolina, we're adopted by the Cherokee Nation. In Texas, where the sheepdogs are, they're going to be adopted by the Cherokee Nation. All right, we've already you know built the relationships to know that that's a good thing for us to do, right? It has been posted that on April 26th, constitutional law and the global gold standard. This is from boots on the ground now. It has been posted that on April 26th, constitutional law and the gold standard return to all citizens around the globe. Deductive reasoning says that that would mean that the new republic was also here, right? Just not public knowledge yet, right? I have this cease and desist paperwork applying to judges, lawyers, police, etc., and just waiting for it to happen. Sounds like it's here. This is the South Central Kentucky and should provide hope to those that think nothing is going on. Here's the receipts. I was told to vacate my property by May 1st on a document delivered by a sheriff a month previous, or expecting an eviction notice would be forthcoming by May the 1st. May the 1st, no sheriff showed up. Made me wonder if the courts were shut down and if there were no judge to sign the order and no sheriff to deliver it. Sounded like I should expect a visit the next day from those who wanted me out. I figured they called the sheriff to deliver it and was told they were on shutdown. Well, he showed up on May the 2nd to harass me as I expected, but no sheriff was in tow. I called a friend to tell her that I thought what I thought was going on. She had a notice from the civil court she was handling for a family member. She called the courthouse saying she had notice of a coming court date 2.5 weeks ago and hadn't heard anything yet. The clerk told her that all civil cases have been put on hold until further notice, and she had no idea why. I asked a friend to look for any sign of a cop on the road. She responded with this email. I went to the cop shop on the way home. Closed. Never closed. It had closed on the door, and it's never closed. The sign actually said call 911. I texted my cop friend Chuck and asked why no cops on the road. First time ever he never answered. Hit up my retired Fed buddy. Asked why civil courts are on hold. His answer: things be changed. They be changing. Then wouldn't tell me anything else. Laugh out loud, fucker. I love that part, right? Because they refused to answer any more questions or tell her anything else, give her any more hindsight, other than things they be changing. You were right, Mike. I contacted so many people about the real ID also. It's all propaganda. They were being told it's the law and poster lines the wall in the DMV. Even requesting a non-compliant license, they are forced into it. I sent them your video and they are pissed off. Sounds like finding out about the vax after the fact, doesn't it? Do your research before you comply to anything, people. TTSA is doing a heck of a job, but I wish there were a way for your information to reach the masses. Thank you for all you and yours do for us. God bless you all, B. And I told her I wouldn't use her name. All right. But there's boots on the ground that there's at least one courthouse shut down and the sheriffs are standing down. Okay. The police are all over Los Angeles more than I've ever seen in a long time. Yeah, we're seeing more state highway patrol active than we've seen in a long time too. Here in our part of North Carolina.
Yeah, they're supposed to be releasing some money as well, according to a source of mine. But what they give you, they're going to try to take it away as well. So
Yes, absolutely.
that's why the trust was important.
That's very much why the trust is important. Exactly. We are going to have a synthetic reset, and then we're going to go right into the great taking. All right. The other thing that I wanted to share with you before we get started into more about the trust is our buddy over at the Great Works blog has wrote another good post, and it's about aligning yourself with or unite all of us uniting under foundational principles. Mrs. Sheepdog shared this. She keeps up with it. When they're good, she shares them out. Well, they're probably standing down because they're on the wrong side of the fence, Lydia. She asked why sheriffs are standing down. Because they're on the wrong side of the fence. You know, they'll get straightened out, those that can, and those that can't, they'll be dealt with, I'm sure. So, Mrs. Sheepdog, thank you for sharing this, and I posted it on Facebook. It's posted in Telegram as well. Uniting under foundational principles is what it's titled. Contradiction, inconsistency, and disintegrity cannot create true unity. Trying to force and coerce unity through contradictory moral baselines is not unity, integrity, harmony, or consistency. You cannot have true moral unification if there is contradiction. Cohesive false unity leads to a conflicted internal state of being due to sacrifice and compromise of a foundational principle of moral truth. Uniting in moral truth allows us to create a real, lasting, effective future of true freedom and peace in our localized area of living and expand it. True unity is standing in that common moral foundation known as truth. Moral foundational truth is integrity, unity, harmony, and living connected to morals and values. Alternately, you could not care for truth. You could not care for truth and morality and instead compromise your moral baseline for living in order to falsely unite and create more of the same, allowing more evil to be accepted through your false attempt at unity. Most people want this illusion of unity through a disintegrated, inconsistent, and disharmonious moral baseline, which is what we have with the political theater. Okay? People want to attach to the parts that they like, that they think is serving them, because they're tricked into it. All right? I'm going to continue reading. If you think Trump being named the new pope is a moral baseline for unity, you probably are on the wrong channel. Let me put it that way. Trump needs to quit flapping his damn gums and do his fucking job. Liquidate the assets and let's get on with this program. All right, that's not in the blog post. I'll get back to reading the blog post before I go way off script.
I was like, damn. True unity is standing in that common moral foundational truth. Moral foundational truth is integrity, unity, harmony, and living connected to morals and values. You either stand in truth that unites, or you stand in the falsity that divides itself from truth. You either stand in the same moral baseline with others, capable of creating at the same level of truth, love, God, right, morality, natural law, to form a true unity, or you compromise your ability to create the reality by accepting the moral actions of others to form a false unity, because they do not want to stop perpetuating those immoral actions. And you are okay with that.
You will unite and let them create evil, because truth and morality don't matter as much as the blind unity exposed by pseudo spirituality. People want to connect and unite. It is a deep yearning. But failure to recognize the supreme value and importance of truth will not allow you to reach the goal you purport of true freedom and peace through these false unities. People are holding themselves back from where they say they want to go. We are all in this together, but we are regulated to interaction and cooperation based on the common foundational points that exist while allowing immortality to continue. This is not true unity, but false or blind unity. We cooperate, live, and interact with others who violate morals we live by. Yeah, we do. We cooperate, live with, and interact with others who violate morals we live by. Pam Bondi, Elon Musk. Oh, did I say those names out loud? Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, you forgot to hit
Trent.
Mike.
Dang it. JD Trance. Oh, anyway, back to the blog post. We live in constant disharmony and disunity with others, and we expect blind unity to work. What a joke. This creates internal conflict to coerce ourselves into accepting immorality around us. If morals matter, then they all matter. Otherwise, if you want to unite regardless of moral unity, then let's just go and unite with the elites and any other violators of natural law principles of truth. Yes, that will really work out well to create into the future while allowing those actions to continue. I thought that very pertinent. And RFK Jr., I left his name off the list. Yeah, he should not be dismissed either. These are all transhumans. All right. Last night I was talking about your bank accounts when it comes to your trust, folks. If you need to use your existing bank account, go ahead. You just need to change your signature card to include the TTEE. Okay? So that it is on file. It is on file. It is on file as you're a trustee, okay? With the bank.
Mike, did you say transhumans?
Yeah, I did say transhumans.
Is that the trannies?
No. These are the cyborgs, man.
Oh, don't worry. Oh, just stay focused on the transgenders and not the transhumans. I got you.
Yep. All right, let me see here. I've got something. I got an email from the State Employees Credit Union. And look, I don't have any problem with people that work there, okay? But this is how these banks want to work, all right, including the credit unions. All right, so everybody knows that the tariffs, as soon as I can find the email, is buried. Here we go. All right. Just so everybody can see it. All right. Can y'all all, okay, yeah. This, you can see it enough. This is from State Employees Credit Union to my email address, all right? It says, "Dear State Employees Credit Union member, I want to bring your attention to an issue the credit union industry is facing. The issue of federal taxation. It is not to our industry. It is not new to our industry, but it is our current legislative environment. It is an escalating concern. Our advocacy partners, America's Credit Union and the Carolinas Credit Union League, are leading the industry charge to ensure credit union members are aware and engaged in measures to protect against federal taxation. To assist us in those efforts, they established an important initiative called Don't Tax My Credit Union. Please take a few moments to view this information and learn more about the potential impacts of this issue and steps you can take to help us protect against federal taxation for credit unions. We appreciate your support of our members' own cooperative. Together we can make a difference. Okay. So they're making a charge to keep the credit union itself from being federally taxed. Okay. Which it should be because it's a commercial entity and it's a corporation. All right. It's it's a LLC, I'm sure. I don't know how it's listed. I've never looked it up. But I started asking around to people I know, and more than half of the people I know that are members of the State Employee Credit Union, the credit union unlawfully took letters from the IRS and garnished bank accounts. Okay, so imagine if we went statewide or even countrywide, we'd find many that these credit unions are following the unlawful legalese of the IRS garnishing bank accounts. Okay, we know of several cases, boots on the ground, right here in our own wheelhouse at Truth Seekers. One person who has become a very strong voice in our community is standing up to that with the credit union and the fraud. All right, so do you see that what the tariffs are doing? This is your tariffs at work right here. Institutions that have not been federally taxed before are now being taxed. And they want to fight against it, but leave us out in the cold when it comes from the Internal Revenue Service sending them a letter to garnish our bank account. Whose side are they on? This is supposed to be member owned. Please make sure you read carefully and understand anything involved with the banking in any institution that you're working with. That's what I'm saying here. All right. The tide is turning where these institutions have been following the cabal legalese for years. And it's now getting turned on them. And they want to pretend that they're member driven when they've garnished the bank accounts of their members. Yep, absolutely, Kennedy. So I'm asking you to please pay attention. And if you don't know and you're not sure about something, ask somebody in our group. Okay. We can together we can all figure this stuff out. It's not I need a lawyer and an attorney, because the lawyer and attorneys, we know they're on the same pages with the judges and the legalese. They're bar accredited.
What if we're too broke to pay attention, Mike?
If you're too broke to pay attention, we can help with that too. Too broke to pay attention. Good one, sheepdog. All right, so let's see here. Make sure I covered everything I wanted to cover so far. So when you go back to your trust, and you want to use your bank account that you already have, because a lot of credit unions are turning down the EIN trust accounts after they've let them get in place. Yeah. We we you absolutely can do that, but you need to update your signature card to include your TTEE so that they know your signature is on file as a trustee. Okay. And then you make sure that bank account is listed on your Schedule A in your trust. Okay, make sure your straw man is the beneficiary. So the other thing, did Florida gal get the new trailer? We have secured one, and we're working on getting it to her from Michigan. There's one been secured in Michigan that we're working on getting it to her. Absolutely, our Florida friend is about a very short period of time away from having not to live in the conditions that she's been living in. Has shower, bathroom, kitchen, couple of beds, and so on and so forth, like a living room den type situation. So it's older, but it's been well kept, and it's kind of nice. Sheepdog, y'all seen the pictures, haven't you?
Yeah, I just what you can do is change out that mattress and put a really nice, comfortable one in there. It'd be a really good idea.
Yeah,
And
Tempur-Pedic. Yeah, we'll get her a
yeah,
Tempur-Pedic mattress.
because
Yeah,
your RV mattresses suck.
yeah, I agree.
Um, you know, and but yeah, it's an older model, but it's perfect for her. As far we're gonna put some wooden steps out there instead of the metal ones that fold out to make it safer with railings and stuff like that, so she can get in and out. Also, you can hook it up the uh, sewage line PVC pipe instead of the regular RV hoses they get because they always have to be changed out. And she really, it's a blessing, and we thank everybody involved in making this happen. And I hope that God blesses you abundantly. This is,
Right on.
yeah, what you do for the least of these, you've done for me. And I always say that to myself. What you do for the least of these, you've done for me. And that's all. That's all that matters. And that's where the real reward comes in is when you serve others instead of waiting to be served. And some people do need to be served, but in order for Scruffy to be able for this opportunity, somebody had to be of service, right?
Right
And
on.
ready to help out.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got reminders from the chat. It says don't go to Mickey's mattress store for the new mattress. You're gonna lose an inch and a half. No, you can order a Tempur-Pedic mattress, which is a real nice mattress, online for a little less than $300. We'll be able to do that. We'll be able to secure her a small front landing to the door she's at with railings, like Sheepdog is talking. And all that'll be new. We've got people lined up to transfer the septic and all to the travel trailer from where it's at now without a whole lot of effort because the travel trailer septic lines are temporary. They're plastic, right? Not PVC, but plastic. And they're temporary. They don't last very long if they're used a lot. So we've got that situated. The electric will be transferred from her condemned home to the RV in a temporary setting, but a permanent safe access as well. And we'll go on from there. We'll know that she has a way to be a human being while we work on getting to the other side of this thing, and we're able to help her get a more permanent solution. All right, and she'll be able to help herself in that case too as well. Not that she can't help herself right now. She's a very strong woman, and she's by no means giving in. She's fighting. She's fighting right along with us. Um, she's fighting right along with us, and you know, we are. That's what we're here for. We're here for one another. Okay. Um, for one another, and when we can attach ourselves to to that type of service for somebody, our community steps up each and every time in a huge way. Just like we're doing in Western North Carolina, we have done in Western North Carolina. All right, as soon as I see them, we'll get them out. Has anybody seen Cause tonight? We need to check Rumble, Sheepdog.
For what?
They said there's a troll in Rumble.
Oh yeah, name it.
Yeah, yeah. Give us a name. What's the name?
Yeah, drop the name. I hate to have to go read 400, 500 messages. You'll see a troll, just name them, and I'll go review what's being said, and then we'll take care of it from there. I hope everybody can respect the chat and what's taking place. If you don't want to be here, you can go ahead and leave now, voluntarily.
Yeah. There's your name, Einezwei. I wouldn't know how to pronounce that.
All right.
Yeah. You're too funny, Sheepdog. That's what they said.
I got some more jokes. I just can't tell them all in one night.
Right. All right. So, this was posted 21 minutes ago. Rod Hayes shared it out. Wake up, world. The hour is late, but not lost. We stand at the edge of a great unveiling, a point in time foretold by sages, prophets, and mystics through the ages. The world as most know it is not as it seems. We live in a time where illusion has become currency, where deception wears 1,000 suits, and where greed is painted as virtue. Yet amid this grand stage of shadows and smoke, there are those who have been through the curtain. You are among them. The image you see, a figure in the mask reaching through the tunnel, speaks in symbols. This is not just a call to wake up in the worldly sense. This is the hermetic call to gnosis, to know thyself, to know thy all, to realize that silence in the face of evil is complicity, and complicity is death to the soul. Hermetics teach us as within, so without, as above, so below. To raise your voice against injustice is not merely activism, it is the balancing of universal principles. When we act in defense of truth, we align ourselves with the principle of correspondence and restore equilibrium between the material and the spiritual realms. This is not rebellion, it is rectification. There we go. Sorry about that. The principle of mentalism tells us that all is mind. Maybe I'll clean my glasses off. I might be able to see a little bit better. Sorry about that, folks. All right. The all is mind. What we accept in our mind shapes our world. When we tolerate lies and injustice, we protect weakness into the collective field. But when we stand firm, unshaken in truth, we alter the vibration of the all. The Hermetic warrior does not fight with fist, but with consciousness. They embody truth. They speak when silence becomes betrayal. The principle of cause and effect remind us every choice echoes across eternity. By refusing to speak out, we allow the architects of greed and control to sculpt the future. But by boldly raising our voices for honesty, justice, and truth, we invoke a different chain of causes, one that leads to liberation, one that lights the path for others still asleep in the cave of shadows. This group, Ancient Order of Vemetics, is not just a gathering, it's a living temple of souls who remember. We are the fire keepers, the truth bearers, and the witnesses to the collapse of the old world. But more importantly, we are the midwives of what is to come. So, to each of you reading this, speak, even when your voice trembles. Stand, even when your knees are weak. Shine, even when the world demands darkness. For you are not alone. You are part of something ancient, sacred, and unstoppable. And to those who cling to the illusion, be it from fear, comfort, or ignorance, we do not hate you. We mourn for you. We offer our hand, not in arrogance, but in remembrance of who you truly are beyond the lie. The revolution is consciousness. The weapon is truth. The battlefield is within. Now rise in light and truth in all. Good stuff, right? That's good stuff. I wanted to scan through here. There's our good friend Missy. Do you ever ask why we need to call cell towers every few miles? Okay, she's talking about cell towers. I think that's the successor to Trudeau. I don't have time to read that, but I did an article a while back on the successor was chosen by Trudeau, not voted in or anything else. And obviously he's not what they want.
Well, Mike, we're in the stage of giving us what we don't want so that we stand up, Mike. That's why they did that.
Right.
You know, you see what I'm saying? It's like this is a psyop. Psyops tries to get you to do something that they want you to do. And if they're trying to get y'all to stand up, they're not going to make it unicorns and rainbows flying around and shit.
Right.
It's going to be horrible until you get pissed off enough to start realizing what's taking place, that you never had control over who they select.
Right.
And the de facto corporation. And even Canada, Mexico, all over the world, really. I mean, look at China and Russia. They don't even get to. I mean, they had Putin for how long? You know.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Xi. Then you got North Korea. Yeah, they all don't really get to pick.
Yeah. Rocket Man. You got Rocket Man.
Yep. There's a Marine right there.
Yeah. Meet this cool military guy from Pennsylvania who was in tears in the lobby of the church. I ended up talking to him with tears in my eyes. He works for Trump in some capacity and told me about the letters that President Trump wrote to him. God bless our vets, right?
Well, not really, because they're doing Trump doing away with Veterans Day. He's renaming it to some other name. That's
right. That's what I probably what that post is about right there.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, the Trump administration, they're going to rename Veterans Day, and the veterans are pretty pissed off, and I'm happy because they were asleep.
Right.
Now maybe we can get something done.
This is Mount Airy, North Carolina. They've kind of taken on the Mayberry. This is Wally's Service. Everybody remember Andy Griffith and Barney Fife? There's the machine right there in Mount Airy, North Carolina. Wally's Towing.
Look, Tow Mater.
Yep, Tow Mater, that's right. And we're at Gomer work. Gomer Pow. I'll be.
Damn, look at that.
Shazam, yeah, that's badass, ain't it? You see that from I-40 in Greensboro as you transition into 77.
That looks like a tree, a bottom of a tree or something like that. See
Yeah,
how
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like something was cut down right there, or that's something in there. They keep all them trees growing up around it too. Right. I've noticed these locations like that where that's just sitting in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like a mound. Yeah. It's like the bottom of a tree. And that trees are the grass.
Oh, yeah.
There used to be giants here. Well, they're still here. They heard they're Antarctica, right?
Right.
Hey, that's the first Walmart, Mike.
Yeah. Wally's Service. High test and regular. Get. And the Tow Mater is over here in the corner.
Paul's not even a disciple. I'm
trying to figure out exactly.
Who Paul is. Who's Paul?
Well, in the modern era, it's Root Paul.
Oh, damn. You got John Paul, the Pope.
Right.
If you go back and look at some of the popes, one of the popes were named John Paul. Or Paul. It's just something to think about. He's not even one of the original 12 disciples. I mean, it's whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But because people like to quote him a lot.
Yeah, this is a good one right here. They do like to quote him a lot. This is the map. A while back, we told you how the map was upside down, folks. More is starting to come out about that now. Check this out.
No sound, Mike.
All right. I got to reset. I got to go out and come back in. Man, I'm losing everything.
Oh, shit.
All right. I'll be right back.
All right. We'll wait right here.
All right.
Me and a few thousand people. So we're going to have a little intermission here until he comes back. Real quick, they're probably going to do a false flag and blame it on somebody else to get us in some bullshit, so be prepared for that. They're already kind of cranking that up via the media. Israel having a missile thing allegedly being shot at it. The fires you're seeing over there, they didn't start the fires until the wind got really high, just like California. They did the same thing in Israel. They waited until the wind speeds were going to be up that day, and then an arsonist or something like that went out there, cranked the fires up. And that's what you're seeing, the same thing that took place in California, Hawaii. Right? So I just want to put that out there. Be prepared for that. It could be some kind of a blackout. You got the Diddy trial tomorrow. So misdirection is needed, right? Just like when the $1.2 trillion came up missing at the Pentagon the day before 9/11. Yeah, you had to have a false flag, right? Same scenario. So be on the nothing to fear. It's just be mindful of what's coming on via the media, running propaganda, and it's all legal. Smith-Mundt Act, 2012. Just keep that in mind. That's how Nazi Germany, everything's legal, but not lawful. All right, so just be on the lookout for that. Uh, get your house in order. Don't let the left-right paradigm divide you anymore because none of y'all voted for the president. The Electoral College did. So I see a lot of division because of that left-right paradigm. Just like you seen Mike being called deep state. I mean, is that what you really want? You know, you're supposed to be punching up, not punching uh, side to side or down, right? If you're wasting your time because you don't like what somebody's putting out, turn the channel. Quit listening. Maybe you need to take a look at it. I got offended. I went after people too when I had issues with something they said. Then I find out it was right. Then you feel like shit. So if you think it's all about Trump, then he's your pope. You got to get rid of the idol worship. No disrespect. I know most of you aren't, but if you can't, um, if you can't tell the king what the hell's going on, then something wrong. Your closed mouths will not get fed. The reason why you didn't get nothing for your vote because you didn't ask for anything. You didn't say anything. Now the libertarians did. They only make up 3% of the vote, and they got some guy freed out of prison. I mean, that's a hell of a thing to pull somebody right out of a federal prison at a moment's notice because of a campaign promise. But you know, the libertarians are messed up and voted anyway themselves, so they got suckered in themselves to it as well. Again, you got to know the difference between de facto and de jure, and how they psyop you into consenting to what they're doing right now. Federal overreach is they need all y'all to participate. It ends once everybody wakes up. That's why Trump said this is the final battle. He knows this is it. We're reaching that peak level where people are getting mad enough to start speaking out like I am. Even, you know, it's okay to type it out and vent. Lay it all out, what you want to see. Don't stay silent. Silence is compliance. It's being tacit. That's just nodding your head and agreeing with all the tyranny that's been taking place, and it's been going on for far too long. Why? Because we've just been silent and psyoped, propagandized into thinking that these politicians are going to do what they said year after year after year, when our attention should be local, making real changes, getting real people in there. You know, not the people they pick, but challengers, right? Because they have a good buddy system where they have the mayors all laid out for the next 10, 15 years. People coming up behind them, preparing them. That's not how this should work, right? But that's what's been going on, and people have been so underpaid and having to work 2 or 3 jobs that they ain't got time, you know, to even learn or pay attention to what's going on. They're just trying to make ends meet and survive, and that's all part of the strategy. Is they increase the prices of the products, but they don't pay you anymore when the increase cost of living goes up. That's how they're screwing you. It's a silent war. Do you think these billionaires could need more money? You think it's about profits when it comes to your groceries? No. And the price of that, the price of your housing, they own everything already. Why do they need your change? To keep you in a certain vibration so that you never rise up or have time to rise up and make a change. You know, who knows? Somebody that you're following on Facebook or something that has been putting out good information might be one of your mayors one day, or somebody that's been fighting for the Constitution and calling out all the tyranny from the last few years. Maybe one of your governors. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because you'd want somebody that's fighting for the people, not somebody that's fighting for the corporation, sending your money overseas for wars. And then when we buy something from them, they charge us taxes on it, tariffs. It's like giving your money to somebody and they turn around and charge you for something later. Man, Mike's taking forever. Am I on the screen? There we go. Whoa, I'm by myself. I'm on stage by myself. This definitely fixing to be a holy shift show. Let me go ahead and add screen right here. I thought he'd be back a little sooner. But what we have right here, we'll start off with this. Let's see, am I added? Yeah. All right, we'll start with Trump plans. This is from militarytimes.com. Trump plans to change Veterans Day into Victory Day for World War I. President Trump in a social media post Thursday announced plans to rename Veterans Day as Victory Day for World War I and establish May 8th as Victory Day for World War II. So, really, Veterans Day is on 11/11. So, if you're doing that, what does that say? May 8th and establish a May 8th. Okay. Yep. So he's going to do the 11/11, and then on the 5/8, he's going to have Victory Day for World War II, which would be in 4 days. He says we won both wars. Bullshit. That's propaganda. We lost them. Why you think the damn Nazis came over here for Operation Paperclip, folks? See what I'm saying? You got to be aware of what took place, and understand why they're releasing the star card. If we won World War II, why do we have star cards? Makes sense? You get it? That's what they were fighting to prevent from happening. And here we are in 2025. They slow rolled it out almost 80 years later. They wait a few generations. They don't just do it so quick. That's why people can't see it, because it happens like stretched out. It's like a rabbit turd. Instead of a pile, it's just got a bunch of little pellets all for like 10 miles long. That's how they do it. Instead of you seeing the big pile of shit, they just stretch out the pile of shit so that you never even. And that's why it's important to be knowledgeable of your constitutional rights and the true history of what took place instead of the propaganda that we were fed. Does that make sense? And that's why the vaccines are here. It's the CIA, Mockingbird Media, mind control. That's all Nazi shit that they did. Experimenting with twins. I don't even have to read any more of this. Or I stop right here when it says we won both wars. I know the rest of it's. If you want to read it, you go check it out. But there you go. More propaganda. I don't know who came up with this. I don't think Trump is the mastermind behind all this. He just reads the teleprompter. So I tell people, ask yourself, who writes the script for the president to read? And then you see the man behind the curtain, right? That's just the figurehead that they give us as like a character in a movie, like Truman Show. So we got that. We're going to have a little bit of let me see here. Where's it at? We're going to talk about y'all's favorite attorney general, the Bulldog. All right. Going to talk a little bit about her here in a second. So we have, all right, AG nominee Bondi expresses willingness to work with Dems on gun control. January 21st, 2025. I told you, once you give her the inch, she's going to take a mile. Once she realized that y'all weren't, that she could have federal overreach, they're going to go for this. The red flag gun laws. I got a video as well of her and Trump sitting down talking about confiscate guns for certain, they say medical things, but that's how it starts. They give you some crazy reason, and then next thing you know, it's at your front door. President Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, gave some troubling answers on guns during her confirmation hearing in front of Congress. When asked about gun laws such as red flags, Bondi said she would defend the laws of the United States like she defended Florida laws, and offered to sit down and talk with anti-gun senators on common sense gun safety laws. Does that make sense? Y'all starting to catch on to this common sense narrative that they're kind of telling y'all that ain't common sense? But what is a common sense gun safety law? Is your Second Amendment. It's already in place. It's common sense. So see how they package it? This willingness to meet with senators about implementing what most in the gun community consider to be unconstitutional legislation is concerning to Second Amendment activists. Bondi was nominated to be the next Attorney General after Matt Gaetz. Why did Matt Gaetz withdraw? They showed him some videos, didn't they? Withdrew his nomination due to allegations of sexual misconduct. Bondi has a mixed past when it comes to guns. She claims to be a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment, but her history wait, hold on. Sorry, guys. Bonnie has a mixed past when it comes to guns. She claims to be a her assertion. Didn't I tell you don't listen to what they say? Because that's how they get y'all. Because you need to watch what they do or have done. Although she has taken some pro-gun stances in the past, she has also praised and defended gun control as the Florida Attorney General. Notably, Bondi celebrated the Parkland gun control bill. The bill instituted red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection orders, ERPOs. Under an ERPO, police can confiscate a person's firearms because someone asserts they are in danger to themselves or others. There you go. The ERPO is, you need to go look at that Second Amendment. The ERPO and see what it says. Is issued in an ex parte hearing where the target isn't present or even notified. Many believe that red flag laws are constitutionally dubious because of the lack of due process protections. The Parkland bill also raised the age to buy a rifle from a dealer from 18 years old to 21. The Second Amendment says the right of the people. The courts have taken that to mean the political class. And we're going to get more into how they can interpret the Constitution and what they've been doing. When you get into interpretations instead of how it says, then you start having issues. The political class is those that have reached the age of majority and can do things such as vote. Her stance on firearms, age restrictions, disarms part of the political class. She has defended the law in court and expressed support for the Parkland gun control measures. Ms. Bondi has also defended Florida's ban on open carry. She defended the ban on open carry. Okay. Although permitless concealed carry is also allowed in the Sunshine State, open carry is banned unless you are fishing or hunting. Florida is one of the only states that prohibits. And do you know that some people still get arrested for carrying their rifle when they're out fishing? Florida is one of the only states that prohibits the open carry of firearms, even when a resident has a concealed carry permit. Ms. Bondi chose to defend a law that many gun owners believe is unconstitutional. If Bondi is confirmed, she will run a DOJ. The GOJ oversees the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, which under the Biden administration has been hostile to firearms ownership. Gun owners had hoped that President Trump would appoint a constitutionalist to head the DOJ, but he didn't. Bondi is, there's a reason why they're doing this, folks, is because they're fixing to do something that you're not going to like too much. So we got to get a little bit more, that way when you start acting out, when they start doing that, either on social media or whatever, then they're going to call you a danger to yourself and others, and they can get away with it. Yeah, the agencies are unconstitutional anyway, right? What was that they just did? Yeah, the Chevron difference did away with all that shit, right? Go take another look at the Chevron difference. Bondi is expected to be confirmed unless the public can sway their representatives to vote against her. If she is confirmed, gun owners must use their voices. Their what? Their voices to push Congress to ensure that she doesn't violate any Americans' God-given constitutionally protected rights that she did to the citizens of Florida. Damn, Floridians, y'all didn't know that Pam Bondi or Pam Barty. Yeah, she definitely had something to do with covering up the Epstein case down there as well. She's the reason why, allegedly, that he got a slap on the wrist. And you're getting. I don't even see that. Does that look like the same lady? She looks like she's been changed out anyway, unless this is like her high school picture or something.
She's been changed out. She's either been changed out or they use the Wi-Fi frequency to change the density, which will change the way she looks too. Her internal density is everybody's internal density is affected by the Wi-Fi. Just so you know. Go ahead,
they call her the Bulldog. At least that's what Caroline, the White House press secretary, said. She's a Bulldog, Mike, and anything you put on her desk is going to get taken care of. Okay, where's that list at those files? It feels exactly. Right. Yeah, so don't fall for the hype, folks. Keep in mind, Smith Mundak full in play, even with your favorite people that you think are amazing, are quite the opposite. Be careful who you follow. Right? It's not me or Mike. It's right. That TV that's got you under some MK Ultra's mind control.
Well, it's also the Flynn Network posing as patriots, and they're really Zionists.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. Remember that bus they had the other day when they got all those illegals? There was 12 soldiers, or there was one of the soldiers here, Fort Carson soldier, charged with cocaine distribution, possession after DEA nightclub raid. So they labeled him as 13 a terrorist, but then you have active duty military in there selling drugs for him. Does that make any sense? It's not going to be a good day in the court martial for that guy. I'll tell you that. That's the big case right there. It's sad, but
yeah. And Tasha nailed it. I think the Pam Bondi we see now is a soap opera actress.
This is from a military.com website, just so everybody knows. You can get it, check it there. I'm not going ABC, NBC, none of that. If you want to look more into it, you can. But he's not the only one that was there active duty. They should have had enough brains to know that they shouldn't have been in that club, but they like to set up the soldiers. They like to put strip clubs and prostitution things all around the bases, even in Fort Bragg, and strip clubs and car lots. That's how they get the military active duty.
Yeah.
Not that I know anything about that.
Some people are saying that Trump signed an executive order to protect the Second Amendment on 2/7/2025. Obviously, they didn't read it. They just took the
the propaganda that was
Right. Because why would an
about it.
executive order?
Go read the executive order that
Why would an executive order override the Constitution anyway? The Constitution,
Right.
just because Trump signed an executive order, what, to remind you what the Constitution says, or that it looks like he's the one doing it through an executive order when it's an inalienable right. You want to read
Right.
that?
Yeah, you want to go read the entire order. Yeah.
The Constitution trumps all executive orders, so it doesn't matter. The next person can come in and undo the executive order, folks. That's why you got to hold the Constitution,
Right.
because the next person. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but if Obama came back, guess what? Would you be in support of the federal government overreach? Hell no, y'all wouldn't. So wake the hell up. Would you?
Right on.
Would you? If
Right
Obama
on.
said he was going to deport some American citizens, y'all'd lose your minds. But it's Trump, so therefore you're silent. See how they're doing it? It's really genius, actually. The enemy and how they control the human mind and people as a whole. But when you step back and look at it, and you stand on business and your own square, then you don't fall for the psyop on TV propaganda EOs that can all be easily undone because they're not law. All right. So we got right here, Mike. We got, was this Rand Paul? Only cowards bow to kings.
Yep.
All right. He's standing up to the terrorists and stuff like that. And people are attacking him because he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. However, he's not fully 100 on board on other issues. But at least he's saying something. Instead of allowing the president, because of both. Like I said, if Obama was in there and Congress wasn't doing anything to stop Obama, what would y'all say? Y'all be so upset. You'd be upset that if Obama ran for president and said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day, y'all be upset. So it really exposes the hypocrisy on the left and the right, and that's going to bring everybody together when they realize how hypocritical both sides really are.
Absolutely. The hypocrisy is abundant in the political theater, folks. You need to recognize that. And y'all, I get everybody wants to know if they really saved the children. I get that. I totally get that, because that's why we started this in the first place, to save the children. But yes, as far as the dumbs and goes, that is all past tense. Anybody saying that they're just starting again to go into the dumbs and all underground, they're trying to get your attention off the fight that's above ground with the closing of the courts and shutting down the corrupt police forces and so on and so forth. It's already been identified that underground has been taken care of. The ones that are left are the child protective services and the judges in these courts, and the police that are the police forces that are allowing them. So you want to save the children, that's where your attention needs to stay. We need to get rid of these courts, okay, and bring back Big Mama's court. We're a matriarch now, no longer a patriarch. Keep going, sheepdog.
Yeah, you don't get your rights from Trump's executive orders. You need to snap out of that. All right, so let's move on.
Yeah, it's the same thing as going to McDonald's and asking them for your rights. Yeah.
Yeah. So if he signed an executive order to take your guns, what are you going to do? You're going to go, the Constitution says, right? The Constitution says, and then you'll snap to it.
Right on.
Or will you? Because I think a lot of this, because Trump talks a lot about AR-15s a lot. You had 2 staged assassination attempts. You had, the its building, and what would the MAGA do to protect Trump? Would they give up all their rights and their guns, or anything? Not just guns, because Republicans only want to talk about their Second Amendment, but all of them are being violated. But that's what the Constitution is. What holds them accountable. The Constitution holds them accountable. They're supposed to abide by that, this, and this, right? The Bill of Rights is what, but that's even being trampled on as well. But people don't care because it's somebody with the mask on. Let me get into interpretations or fabrication. I'm only going to play a little bit of this because it's kind of harsh. And if you ain't got tough skin or you get easily offended, then you're probably not going to like this one too much. But I'm just going to play a little bit because you kind of get to the point within about 10 minutes in. You pretty much get what he's trying to tell you. But it's important.
About how neither party, Democrat or Republican, gives a crap about the Constitution. They will pretend they do. They will give lip service to it when they think it serves their purpose, but they obviously don't give a crap about it in 100 different ways, both sides. Very easy to demonstrate. The vast majority of what Democrats do, the vast majority of Republicans do, are way beyond what the Constitution ever authorized the federal government to do. Now, I'll throw that in again because people go, hey, how come you're talking like the Constitution is illegitimate authoritarian bullshit? I'm not talking about this is bad because they violated the magic parchment. That parchment is bullshit. It pretended to create a ruling class. It was too authoritarian. But the people who pretend to believe in it don't at all. 0 Democrats and 0 Republicans come close to actually believing in the Constitution. But inevitably, some people will turn around and say, well, it depends how you interpret it. Maybe they're allowed to, forcibly control who can come in and out of the country. If you interpret, the thing about uniform rules for naturalization, which is how you, become a citizen, we can just pretend that can, or the left, well, if you interpret the Second Amendment, it is all about interpretation. No, it isn't. No, it's not at all. And I want to make this video demonstrating why. What interpretation means is there was some evidence or there was some human communication that wasn't quite precise enough and could mean more than one thing. And I'll use a silly example. Today, I ate a salad with my pet turtle. Seems pretty straightforward. However, those words could literally mean 2 things, or at least 2 things. One is, today my pet turtle and I ate a salad. The other one is, today I ate my pet turtle along with a salad. Because the phrase, today I ate a salad with my pet turtle, could literally mean either one. So you sort of need to interpret it. You can figure out from the context or certain assumptions, he probably didn't mean he ate his turtle, even though those words could literally mean that. So maybe there's room for interpretation. But the purpose of interpretation is to try to figure out what the person communicating it actually meant, rather than I'm going to fabricate some new meaning that serves my ends. So I'll use another example. I only feed my pet turtle salads. Simple enough. Unless somebody says, does that include fruit salad? Because that's called salads, and turtles do eat fruit, and some do. Does it include chicken salad? Egg salad? Tuna salad? Probably not, but those things are called salads. So when you say you only feed your pet turtle salads, does it include those things too? We might need to interpret it and figure out exactly what you mean, in this case, by the word salad. So there may be room for interpretation. Does that include fruit salad or not? That would be an actual interpretation. You know what would not be an interpretation of the sentence, I only feed my pet turtle salads? It would be to interpret that to mean that I feed my turtle filet mignon. No, that's not a salad. That's not an interpretation. That would just be you making shit up based on nothing. Not an interpretation. You can't interpret something to mean something that it comes nowhere near saying. And making crap up and fabricating stuff is absolutely what the federal courts have been doing for many, 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 many decades. It's fabrication. It's not interpretation. Now they have to pretend that they're interpreting the Constitution. Well, we looked carefully at this clause and made up this lame-ass excuse. They're not trying to understand it. And anybody familiar with, I'll mention a couple of cases, anybody familiar with these, you can't really pretend to yourself that they were actually like trying to accurately decide and state what the founders meant by clauses of the Constitution. In the cases I'm about to say, you can't even pretend that with a straight face. They were trying to mangle the actual words used in order to justify a desired result, namely more authoritarian power. They were doing spin and bullshit, not interpretation. It's not interpretation when you decide that words mean something that they totally obviously did not say. That's fabrication. That's bullshit. One of my favorite examples, because it's just so hysterically obviously bullshit, is the case of Wickard versus Filburn, U.S. Supreme Court case about the Commerce Clause many, many years ago. Was it 50s, maybe 70s? No, I forget. Pretty long ago. You can look it up. What? You're going to think I'm making this up unless you go look it up and read the ruling. You go, holy shit, they pretended that was interpreting the Constitution? There was a farmer. He was growing wheat on his own property. He was then using that wheat on his own property and consuming it himself, like them eating it or feeding it to their livestock. I forget the details. The wheat never left his property. It was never for sale. Nobody bought it. He didn't buy it from anybody else. He grew his own wheat and consumed it on his own property. And the United States Supreme Court said the federal government can regulate that with 80 bajillion different rules based on the Interstate Commerce Clause. Even though the Supreme Court acknowledged it wasn't interstate, it wasn't even interproperty. It never left their own property, and it wasn't commerce. Nobody bought anything. So how the hell do you pretend that you can interpret the Commerce Clause, that the federal government can regulate commerce between states? How the hell can you interpret that to mean the federal government can control that guy growing and consuming his own wheat on his own property? What the hell? Well, their reasoning, and if you don't believe me, you can look up the ruling, was that, well, yeah, you didn't sell it. There wasn't commerce. It wasn't interstate. It was none of that. But had you not grown your own wheat, you might have bought wheat from somebody else. And that wheat you might have bought from somebody else might have crossed state lines had you bought wheat from somebody else. Therefore, you growing and consuming your own wheat on your own property had an impact. It had an effect on interstate commerce. So the feds can regulate it. That's the short version. You can read their whole bullshit if you want to. They were not interpreting anything. They were making an excuse for expanding arbitrary authoritarian power. That is just, anybody with a brain who reads that can see that. Those were lying pieces of crap, playing God, wearing their black dresses, pretending that that made any sense. And no, there's nothing in the Commerce Clause that says having an effect on it. Like, if you're going to pretend that having an effect on it, or a possible effect, not even an actual effect, but a potential effect on interstate commerce, doesn't that mean you could cover pretty much everything? The answer is yes, and that has been the foundation. That stupid ruling, and more stupid rulings before and after it, has been the foundation for the federal government sticking its tentacles into healthcare and communications and transportation and a million things it has no business doing at all. But they interpreted it, meaning they absolutely just made shit up. They weren't interpreting anything. There are no words in the Constitution that can be interpreted to mean the feds have jurisdiction over a guy growing and consuming weed on his own property. That's not an interpretation. That's just, you got appointed by politicians for the express purpose of making up bullshit to give them permission to do nasty things, and you did that. Now, the right and the left do this all over the place. You know, probably the biggest example is FDR, like loading the courts to pass a bunch of his New Deal bullshit. Wait, there's the New Deal and there's the other. What was LBJ's collectivist crap? I forget. But the right and left do this. Like the entire war on drugs that the Republicans so love. What in the Constitution authorizes that? Nothing at all. There's nothing to be interpreted to pretend the federal government has any jurisdiction over drug use. It obviously doesn't if you just read the document. They're not interpreting anything. They made shit up. They fabricated an excuse. Left side, all federal gun control. Almost that entire argument is about the Second Amendment, which specifically says the feds aren't allowed to do gun control. But often people overlook the fact that the 10th Amendment says the feds aren't allowed to do anything unless the Constitution specifically authorizes it. Okay, where does the Constitution say the federal government gets to decide who can have what guns? Never mind the Second Amendment specifically saying they can't. Why would you start with the idea they can't? Oh, because they fabricated it. Again, with the Commerce Clause. Well, gun violence might have some sort of impact on interstate. Yes, it was that dumb. And that's not an interpretation. That's them making up bullshit. And if you support that, and every Republican politician and every Democrat politician obviously supports that, they support the federal program and the federal departments that only exist because of that. Any single Republican or Democrat who didn't support what I just described, which is absolute bullshit and has nothing to do with interpretation, anybody who didn't support that would say, okay, there shouldn't be an ATF or a DEA or an FBI for that matter, or any federal gun laws or drug laws or like most of what they do, that shouldn't exist under the Constitution. Every Democrat and Republican that doesn't say that is absolutely on board with the game of just making up arbitrary bullshit and pretending it's an interpretation when it's obviously not. There are some things you can actually debate. Maybe that means this, maybe that means this. This is not that. This is not interpretation. This is making shit up. It's making excuses for unlimited, arbitrary, centralized authoritarian power. That is what the Democrats all do. It is what the Republicans all do. Anybody making excuses for any of this federal bullshit, including immigration laws, that's what they're doing. They threw interpretation out the window. Now they're just making excuses for the fact that they don't want any limitation. Whatever authoritarian violence they think will serve their ends, they want it. They don't give a shit about the Constitution. They're not trying to interpret that at all. As long as they think it'll serve their interests, they want that. Now, so we have an example in the news today, the Alien Enemies Act. And Trump is using the Alien Enemies Act from a bajillion years ago to deploy these terrible gang members. They're so horrible and terrible. And whatever you do, don't actually look up the act that I'm talking about. Just believe me, they're terrible. And so we need an excuse. No matter how we have to fabricate it, we need an excuse for authoritarian power to do this.
Now we're going to pause it right here, and we're going to go over here and look at this. That's another point is that he's trying to make here. You're being played right here. There we go. This is exactly what I voiced a lot of concern about, that the Trump administration would throw the Bill of Rights to the wind in their zeal to look for illegals, quote unquote. No ICE agents are entering my home without a warrant. I can assure you of that. And we should all have the same stance. The hunt for illegals does not suspend the Constitution for Americans. Right here, ICE can now enter your home without a warrant to look for migrants. DOJ memo says April 25th, 2025. This is from the Patriot Voice. Again, go give him a follow on X for more content. He's a Navy veteran from Texas. So there's an example of what we've been talking about. But if you're caught up,
this is the DOJ memo, folks. Okay. they've given permission for all the blue or whatever ICE as well, right? ICE to enter anybody's home without a warrant. Okay. That's why you have to have a trust, because until you deem your property as yours in private, your property is listed as a residence, which is a federal property. It's part of the federal corporation. Don't get trapped.
Yeah, keep in mind that maybe somebody lived there before you. Maybe it was an immigrant, and then they come in and kick your door in, but you can't say anything because hey, he was his address was there. Maybe you're in an apartment. If you go moving around apartments every couple of years or whatever, you may move into one of those addresses. But hey, so that's why it's important to stand up. See, I told man, they used people's hate to make this happen. That's why I kept bringing up the fact that your Republican governors shipped in all these migrants via buses. That was them showing us how they've been doing it the whole time, planes and buses and stuff like that. And so they created the problem. You reacted to it, and they said, you know what, we got a solution, and you greenlight it. And that's why we kept saying local. Why aren't they doing anything local? Why is the sheriff allowing this to take place? Well, that exposes all your sheriffs then, doesn't it? Because they're supposed to be not allowing it. So it's a test for everybody nationwide, but a lot of people didn't show up with a number 2 pencil for some reason for this test. So we talk about Americans, American history, and the founding fathers. We throw out the documents that keeps everybody protected, like as if they don't matter. This is a republic. The powers inherent in the people, not the federal government. If you want to do something local, we need to come together and get it done. We need to get rid of all the fraud and stuff and the nonprofits that are sucking up all the money for the homeless and stuff like that and helping them out. That's what's taking place. Your nonprofits take up 80% of the money. 15% goes to the homeless. There we go.
Right. So Don Richie, thank you. Love you, brother. I'm with you. Scott, you're absolutely all right. As long as we keep talking about it, it will continue. But some of it needs to be addressed in our current affairs, because people keep getting caught in getting caught in the trap. Okay, talking about racism.
Yeah, I read that article earlier that said they had to use their voices to go against this oral tradition. Right. And then you act. But we have to wake everybody up to what's taking place, and they're getting caught up in another psyop. But here we go.
Well, I'm going to do what he doesn't want anybody to do. I have before me the federal statute that came from the Alien Enemies Act. Oh, by the way, you know where this is used? May have been the last time it was used. It was to lock up people of Japanese descent in World War II in the internment camps.
Yeah.
Who weren't. If
you know the history, they put Americans that were actually Japanese Americans in FEMA camps here in our own country. Did y'all know that?
Accused of doing anything wrong, but they were related to an enemy country, so we're locking them up. Yeah, that is what Trump is invoking. But wait, it gets even dumber. Like when FDR did that evil piece of authoritarian crap that he was, what he was doing is absolutely evil and immoral. It was also totally unconstitutional, but it was actually in line with the statute, the unconstitutional, immoral bullshit that Congress has passed, which they've never repealed. Here it is. Ready? This is what Trump is saying authorizes him to deport members of a gang in this country. Whenever, quote, Section 21, whenever there is a declared war between the United States and any foreign nation or government, oops, you can ignore the rest of the sentence. Government hasn't declared war against the foreign nation of a gang that's in this country. So that doesn't apply. Whenever there is a declared war between the United States and any foreign nation or government, or, oh wait, there's an or. Any invasion or predatory incursion is perpetuated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government. You're really pretending that a gang doing nasty stuff in the U.S. is a foreign country invading. And that's what they have to pretend. And they're not trying to interpret anything. They're making shit up. That is Trump making shit up. And already federal judges, including a federal judge Trump appointed, has come out and said, that's what? That is not what the statute is about.
They're not taking down the Kazarian mafia. They're not taking down the mafias. They're not taking down the gangs here on that wear uniforms and shit like that. They're not doing that.
Judge Rodriguez said the threat of Trend Aragua, probably saying that wrong, the gang, said that it fell far short of the standards necessary to use the Alien Enemies Act. Duh, because it obviously doesn't apply. Though he did concede that the gang participated in activity that, quote, unambiguously is harmful to society. Like that part wasn't in question. Quote, the court concludes that the gang's activities do not fall within the plain, ordinary meaning of invasion or predatory incursion for purposes of the AEA, Alien Enemies Act. The court concludes that the president's invocation of the AEA through the proclamation exceeds the scope of the statute and as a result is unlawful. It obviously is. If you can read above a 5th grade level, you can see that it obviously is. This is about being at war with a foreign country and doing something nasty and immoral and actually unconstitutional anyway. That's not what's being used here. So Trump wants to just pretend that that applies to gangs already in the country doing nasty things.
Keep in mind that's Trump's advisors that are doing this in the background. So he's just the placeholder. So I like to encourage people to look at who's actually giving him this advice. Who told him that everything was cheaper? Who told him that all this stuff? Look into that. So we don't want to just say Trump, 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 because then you're not going to see behind the curtain. Because
it doesn't. If you have any reading comprehension skills, you know that does not apply. That's not what that means. It's not what the thing says. So anybody who's trying to apply that in this case and go rah, rah, rah for Trump using that power is absolutely cheering for absolutely unlimited federal power. Well, if the guy on the throne says that he should be able to use that statute to do something that literally has nothing at all to do with what that statute actually says, who are these judges to challenge him? And that is what they're saying. That is what the Trump legal psychos are saying. No judge has a right to stop the president from carrying out his duties. Your duties weren't to just make shit up. Like the president doesn't make the law. Oh, wait. This gets... so the Trumpites are arguing courts have no right to intervene at all. You can't do an injunction. Steve Miller, that creepy, weaselly piece of crap, I even forget his
He's a liar.
particular office description, under Trump, he came out and he said this, and I watched the video to make sure this is an accurate quote.
I called him a liar already.
Quote. So this is their excuse why no court has any right to do anything to get in the way of Trump just making up our arbitrary dictatorial powers. Quote, says Stephen Miller, not Steve Miller, the awesome musician. Stephen Miller says, quote, a president is elected by the whole American people. No, he's not. You've already got that wrong. The Electoral College votes for him. Look it up in the Constitution. Nothing in the Constitution mentions popular vote for president. Be that as it may, after he gets that wrong, he, meaning the president, is the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation. Judges are appointed. Some of them are elected at state levels too, but whatever. We'll let that mistake pass too. Members of Congress are elected at the district or state level. Just one man and the Constitution. Article 2 has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. Okay? Yeah, so he's the executor of laws passed by Congress. He doesn't get to pass laws himself. That's not how the arrangement goes. But here goes. Ready? According to Stephen Miller, quote, the whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president.
Democracy? I thought this was a republic.
You
Imagine
just
that.
a dictatorship.
Yeah, it's communism.
Not even a democracy.
That means communism.
Not a constitutional republic. You just basically said Trump can do whatever the hell he wants because all of the will of democracy is imbued into that guy.
Until Obama comes back or an Obama-like figure comes in, and then y'all want to pump the brakes, right? Then it'll be too late.
And Trumpites are cheering for this? What about when it's the next guy, the next Democrat who's in office? Will you then cheer for the idea that the will of the people is imbued entirely into that individual? Or then will you suddenly see what an insane, bonkers, scary notion that is? And then he says, President then appoints staff and then to then impose that democratic will onto the government.
Democratic. Damn.
I'm sure he tried to say that. Onto the people? Did you mean? Either way, you're full of shit. But he's describing a hierarchy with a dictator at the top who can do whatever the hell he wanted because he was elected. That's what he is describing. It's not what the system actually is supposed to be. But apparently that's what this dumbass and his boss, Trump the dumbass, actually think is how it works. The threat to democracy, he continues, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without conscience, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. Project much there, dude? Trump is the one literally going out there and pretending that he can use a statute that obviously doesn't apply. Anybody with fifth grade reading level can see that's not about some gang in the U.S. That's about a country that the U.S. is at war with. There isn't that in this case. What the hell are you talking about? But this dumbass thinks it's a threat to democracy if anybody suggests that any court anywhere can go, what the hell are you doing? That statute doesn't apply to this case.
Right.
You can't just grab random words and pretend they authorize you to do anything you damn well please, and nobody has any right to do anything about it. And here's Stephen Miller, spokesman for the Mango Mussolini, faithfully parroting the idea that the Mango Mussolini should be able to do whatever he wants and no court has the right to stop him. And look how many Trumpites are making excuses for that. Again, that's not interpretation. That's them making up arbitrary, literally dictatorial powers. You couldn't describe a dictator.
Well, he said he was going to be a dictator. They voted for a dictator, even knowing he told them before that. Only for a day, though, right? But here we are, 103,000 some odd.
Chip, any more precisely than that. This one guy is the will of the people. Like Stalin has said that, Mao has said that, Hitler has said that, Pol Pot has said that. I am the people. I am the will of the people.
It's Trump's America.
Okay. I'm glad you're demonstrating it. So
yeah, your press secretary Caroline said this was Trump's country. And I was like, wow, I thought it was the people's, but whatever.
Obviously. And any Trumpites making excuses for that now. Do you really have such a lack of foresight that it doesn't occur to you that the next Democrat who's in power, all he has to do is say, well, you know, those gun rights people who are protesting some tax or something, or even protesting gun confiscation, they're sort of like enemy combatants. They're sort of like an invading army. Yeah, they're already here, and there's no country we declared war on, but they're sort of kind of like it. So now this new Democrat president can use the Alien Enemies Act to lock you up.
Damn.
For not liking gun control, for saying things they don't approve of. And according to the dumb shit that you're parroting right now, that new president, no court will be allowed to stop him. If the Supreme Court says, hey, you're not allowed to do that, according to the dumb crap that you're falling for right now, no court should have any power to tell any president, you can't just do whatever the hell you want. It has to match the laws passed by Congress. And those can be challenged on constitutionality or not, but you can't just make up arbitrary power. Trump is absolutely making up arbitrary power, and it has nothing to do with interpreting any law. It's just fabricating it and making up bullshit like every other dictator has always done. And Trumpites are making excuses for it because apparently they don't have enough of a brain to even imagine how this will be used against them the next time a Democrat is in power. Or used against them right stinking now with Trump in power. Well, I consider it terrorism if you say bad things about the state of Israel. So that really has to be a crime. You gotta do it. 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 Stop falling for that, you fucking idiots. And every time people point out he thinks and acts openly, blatantly like a dictator, oh, you just have Trump derangement syndrome. No, you're a delusional fucking idiot who won't look at what the guy and his stupid stooges openly say in public on a daily basis. And you're cheering for that because you don't understand history. You have nothing like an actual philosophical principle in your head. All you can think is, me like this strong man, he on my side. Open a fucking history book.
Fucking knuckle dragger.
Open a history book. I'll stop it right there. You get the point. I like it when people can do the point without really attacking a certain individual. If you could just, if it comes along across more better. It's an excellent video right there. The interpretation and fabrication. We're seeing that take place right now. And we're trying to wake up MAGA, but MAGA is asleep. They've been asleep the whole time. That's why I watch the RSBN rallies, because I go and listen to the people. I don't listen to Trump because I've heard his speeches 1,000 times. It's the people, and I try to see what their mindset is. And what I'm seeing is a lot of them just repeat the same talking points that they've heard on Fox or the news or from Trump or whatever. And when they should be booing or saying, hey, wait a minute, like when he pushed the vaccine, they should have said, hey, what? And the audience, some of the audience did, they booed. And he lost some of his family, his base at that point. That's why it was important to get some of the Democrats to vote Republican this time around to make up for that. But anyways, we don't, Trump won the 2017 election, not because he won the popular vote, but because he won the Electoral College. Remember that. And several others. So Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. So if your vote counted and your vote mattered, then Hillary Clinton should have won the 2016 election because she won the popular vote. But it's the Electoral College that made the decision, right? The same thing in with Al Gore and Bush, right? When they had the Chads and all that bullshit shit show that we had in 2020 or 1999, right when they're, I don't know if you were on it here, Mike, but Trump's going to rename the Veterans Day. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I caught some of it. I didn't catch all of it, She Dog.
Yeah, the veterans are pretty mad. He already messed up the VA for them and stuff, and they were already having issues there, so they were already kind of pissed off. But I encourage people, don't get out there and protest. They're going to have something for you if you do. Just remain peaceful at home, educate yourselves, and take action in other ways because they want to piss you off to the point where you take to the streets, and so they can show you what they're made of, which does nothing. Because if you cheered on the cops beating the shit out of those college students, remember that when they went out there and protested and they beat the shit out of them, that's what they're going to do to you. So don't get caught up in no damn protests and all that shit. They're just doing nothing but collecting information on you, and you'll be labeled a domestic terrorist or somebody that doesn't need their gun because they could be a danger to themselves or others. So that's how this is playing out. So you got to be smart and realize what's taking place. That's why we keep saying, that's not Trump, that's not Trump, that's not Trump, because they can put anybody in there with a mask on or look like, because he's damn sure isn't 6 foot tall, he's 6'4", but most of us don't see him in person. But when you go and do your research, and when he stands next to other people and he's shorter than somebody that's 6'1", then something's not right. But like I said, it's the people in the background, his attorneys and stuff. They're all, guarantee you, I know what country they're from. They're not from America, folks. The whole U.S. corporation is owned by AIPAC. AIPAC is what? Netanyahu. So, just when you say you can't blame it on Jews as a whole, because it's not that. That's really small-minded. It's higher than that. It's just so happened to be that everybody that has all $1 billion is Jewish. That's the ones that you're talking about, the Gazarian mafia. So be mindful when you say that, because you could be psyoped into hating a certain group that doesn't even, they themselves don't approve of Netanyahu. They themselves don't approve of all the wars. You just don't hear about it on the media because your media is owned and up by them, by the military industrial complex, CIA, Mockingbird media.
You also have to remember the things that are at play. I mean, they created ISIS, the ISIS storyline to fabricate and cover up the real ISIS, right? Which is Jesus' counterpart.
They demonized it, just like they did the Nazi flag.
The female. Exactly. And, they told you but Osama bin Laden was a terrorist, right? Really, he was an actor for the CIA named Tim Osman. Okay? They never put him out to death, out to sea, or none of that crap.
Yeah, and remember, I thought Trump said 100% of ISIS was taken out, and now all of a sudden ISIS has made its appearance back because the CIA is using it as the boogeyman, and the mainstream media and all that, right? But right here, this is text state constitution, inherent political power, Republican form. Stephen Miller was saying democracy. Inherent political power, Republican form of government. All political power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. The faith of the people of Texas stands pledged to the preservation of a Republican form of government, and subject to this limitation only. They have at all times the inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish their government in such manner as they may think expedient. February 15th, 1876. Here's the Constitution right here. And then we go to religion, freedom of religion, freedom of worship. So there's the psyop out right now is that Muslims are building communities and they're going to bring in Sharia law. Guess what? It's all constitutionally protected. Freedom of worship. All men, especially here in Texas, all men have a natural and defensible right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own consciousness. To their own conscience. No man shall be compelled to attend or erect or support any place of worship or to maintain any ministry against his consent. No human authority ought, in any case whatsoever, to control or interfere with the rights of conscience in matters of religion, and no preference shall ever be given by law to any religious society or mode of worship. But it shall be the duty of the legislator to pass such laws as may be necessary to protect equally every religious denomination in the peaceable enjoyment of its own of public worship. You're complaining about the Muslims praying 5 times a day in public. That's all constitutionally protected under the Texas state constitution. Religious service protections. These are the protections that you would want too. So when you try when they psyop you because of 9/11, the people that still hold on to 9/11, some Arabs came over here and hijacked some planes. If you're still thinking that's the case, then you're probably still caught up in 2025 in the psyop, thinking the Muslims are the problem when that's not the case. Especially in federal government, it's APAC. And what's funny is some of them churches fly that APAC church out, flag out in front of their church.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Christians. So the Christians are complaining about the Muslims and Sharia law, but the Christians are also doing their own Sharia law.
One of the things I'd like to tell people also, Sheepdog, is I've experienced this for myself. Where it was brought up one time in North Carolina throughout the years about Sharia law in the synagogue, the Muslim synagogues. So I went and talked to them. They ain't going to eat me, right? Most of them don't even know what Sharia law is.
They're like, what channel are you watching?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's Sherry? I used to freak out about that.
I became good friends with them after that. You know, I made a fool of myself because I thought. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike. That's good. Go ahead.
I made a fool of myself because I thought that Sharia law narrative was real at the time, and come to find out they don't even know what the hell it is either. it's all made up bullshit.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. See, that's where our prejudice comes in, and our Christian nationalism comes in, and all that stuff. That, you know, like Hitler, they used Christianity in Nazi Germany. You know, and if you did, you know, they're trying to get us into a new world order, one world religion, and they're using y'all's hate and people's hate or in ignorance for other people's religions, because you don't look out anything outside of the King James Bible or anything like that. You you don't even know that Yeshua spoke Arabic and his cousin was Muhammad. You don't know that. So now they got the family fighting each other. Man, they can do whatever they want. Now they just let you just kill each other. But that's funny. Yeah. I was in the service with Muslims. I was in the service with Iranians. I mean, people from all different countries were with me in Iraq. So we didn't have no issues, guys. It's your CIA, Mockingbird Media, MK Ultra, military industrial complex of the CIA that's got y'all hating each other, hating immigrants, not realizing that the immigrants were brought over here for the corporations to use as slave labor. So now you're attacking the people that were used as slaves and not the people that were using them as slaves. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So they passed another law in Texas that we can't use political memes, or you could face a year in jail, depending on what the meme is or whatever. That's a violation in itself with the Constitution, because we got freedom of speech and press, Section 8, Texas Constitution. It's on texas.gov. Freedom of speech and press, liberal, every person shall be at liberty to speak, write, or publish his opinions on any subject. I could stop right there. Every person shall be at liberty to speak, write, or publish his opinions on any subject. So Trump signing the executive order, anti-Semitic executive order, violates all constitutional rights, and every other Governor Abbott himself. Being responsible for the abuse of that privilege, and no laws shall ever be passed curtailing the liberty of speech or of the press, and the prosecutions for the publication of papers investigating the conduct of officers or men in the public capacity, like we're doing now, or when the matter published is proper for public information, the truth thereof may be given in evidence, and in all in all indictments for libels, the jury shall have the right to determine the law and the facts under the direction of the court, as in other cases. Searches and seizures. The star card should be allowed in Texas. Why? Because you got searches and seizures. The people shall be secured in their persons, houses, papers. That's your birth certificate and your social security. And possessions from all unreasonable seizures and searches, and no warrant to search at any place or to seize any person or thing shall issue without describing them as near as may be, nor without probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, February 15th, 1876. Then you got rights of accused in criminal prosecutions, right? Due process, speedy trials, bail, habeas corpus is the writ or right and shall never be suspended. The legislator shall enact laws to render the remedy speedy and effectual. February 15th, 1876. Double jeopardy talks about that. Right of trial by jury.
Due process.
Taking property for public use, special privileges and immunities, control of privileges and franchises. So I just wanted to go over those few things and to remind you that what? The power is inherent in the people. Inherent political power. When we read it again. This is from I'll read it from the top right here. Texas Constitution, Article 1, Bill of Rights, that the general, great, and essential principles of liberty and free government may be recognized and established. We declare, Section 1, freedom and sovereignty of state. Texas is a free and independent state, subject only to the Constitution of the United States, and maintenance of our free institutions and the prosperity of the Union depend upon the preservation of the right of local self-government, unimpaired to all states. Inherent political power, Republican form of government, all political power is inherent to people. And all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit, not send our property taxes to.
Read that again. All free governments are constituted on their own authority. Read that again.
Yep. And all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. The faith of the people of Texas stands pledged to the preservation of every Republican form of government, and subject to this limitation only, they have at all times the inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish their government in such manner as they may think expedient. So that means fast, right? Whichever way we may think expedient.
Right. That's so important. Guys, if you have a truly free mind, you know you are the government of yourself. Okay, therefore you are constituted in your own authority. With that being said, the rest of what he said is gives you the right to carry out the expedient dismissal of the tyrannical government as you so choose. Yes, you can't wander up in there by yourself, but people who are like-minded and free thinkers for themselves, self-governing, dealt with the ego, will join you. Let's get busy. We got to stop participating in their shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chief Dog. Sorry about that.
The right to engage in certain agricultural practices. The people have the right to engage in generally accepted farm, ranch, timber production, horticulture, or wildlife management practices on real property they own or lease. But yeah, power is inherent in the people. So we did that. Guess what? Is this a violation of the Constitution? The House will vote Monday on HR 867, the IGO Anti-Boycott Act, sponsored by Representative Mike Lawyer. fines up to 1 million, prison sentences of 20 years for Americans participating in boycotts of Israel or its settlements if these boycotts are endorsed by international bodies like the UN or EU. That's one thing. We're seeing the real ID propaganda being hit all over the mainstream media on every channel, live at 5. I mean, I got hundreds of clips of them talking about it. We've already talked about it enough here. But again, that they're putting it out. So guess what that does? It brainwashes the people into going and doing it without even looking into it. Like Mike read earlier, you have to look into stuff before you get tricked into going and signing up for something. You already have an ID. So you got to ask yourself, why is the United States of APAC trying to make you get an A card, star card, USA? That takes you all the way back to Nazi Germany, like Rose Larkin said. You don't know the history, or you refuse to admit that that's taken place. You're burying your heads in the sand. So we have the ports. Here we got, I'm going to show real quick, see if I got it right here. Okay. Here's the ports. This is on the West Coast. The green dots are the cargo ships that have the products. There's only a few right here. Right now, you really don't understand where I'm going with this, but you're fixing to find out. That's the West Coast by Washington, maybe somewhere around California. This is the East Coast, Boston area, hardly any green dots. You can go on the ship tracker and see this stuff. You don't have to rely on mainstream media news results. They're not telling people because they don't want people rushing out and grabbing everything, because this could mean some issues down the line, which is probably why they're going to release some funds. Okay, that's Boston. I showed you Boston. I showed you the West Coast. Now let's go look at China so you can see what I'm talking about here. This is what it should look like. This is China. You'll see that, Mike? All those green dots, that's your cargo ships sitting in China because they got pissed off that they're having this trade war. This is what trade wars do. Screw the tariffs and having to pay more for everything you get once it does get here because of the backlog. Prices are going to go up. That's China. There's another one, slam pack, another portion of China. See all those green dots? Now let's go back. Are the ports? Now you can see the difference. See that? Nothing. Like the one guy said, you may not, it started. You're going to feel it later. Right now, it's like when you turn the water hose off, right? But it takes a minute for the water to exit the other side, the last bit. Here we are again, hardly any dots. This is urgent. Get your stuff ready. Don't make any big purchases. Save your money. Buckle down and grow you some nice vegetables or get you something set up. Because there's going to be some stuff that may go off the shelves or something, unless they have some other plan. But hey, Trump's bringing Columbus Day back. Oh, but hey, he just renamed the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, that's great, right? You see what's taking place? Where are we at? Oh, damn, we're 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Okay. I'll stop right there. You muted, Mike?
I've had enough. Yeah, I've had enough.
Yeah, that's good. Mike, you muted? Seatbelt guy's back. Hey, I remember that. Just wait for Mike to get back. So stay vigilant. Don't get caught up in the psyop. Don't give up your rights. Stand up for them. It doesn't take an executive order from the king to tell you what you can and can't do. There's only one king, and the damn straight Trump. There's only one queen. Tomorrow is the P. Diddy trial, so expect something to come out in the news that kind of distract you or whatever, maybe. It's already heating up over the Middle East right now, so get ready. Well, you don't have to get ready, just stay ready. But stay at peace and calm and control your emotions. When the world is burning, you need to be at peace because you know who's in control. Say Mike. Mike.
Check this out. The common law is the real law, the supreme law of the land. The code, rules, regulations, policy, and statutes are not the law. Supreme Court case, Self vs. Ray. Legislated statutes enforced upon the people in the name of law are a fraud. They have no authority and are without mercy. Justice without mercy is godless and therefore repugnant to our United States Constitution. Lawmakers were given authority by the people to legislate codes, rules, regulations, and statutes, which are policies, procedures, and law, to control the behavior of bureaucrats, elected and appointed officials, municipalities, and agencies, but were never given authority to control the behavior of the people.
Y'all got that book, right? What is it, like $5 on? Yeah, everybody should have that book. It's got a lot of good information in there. Hey, what happened to the drones? Are they not flying around anymore, or what? Was that just a psyop? Anybody know?
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, ain't nobody got time for that. This is where I'd end it, but I'm going to wait for Mike to come back. Here's your real ID newscasting right here. The propaganda.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
It's extremely dangerous to our democracy. They tell you that over and over and over and over and over. Then you forget it's a republic. Then it's danger. Then you need the government to come in and save you. And then they save you and put you in a smart city or a FEMA camp for your safety, right? Just like the star cards for your safety. Well, I guess we can put our guns up. If we just have a star card, we'll be good. Huh? All right, guys. Let's be out of here. Let me go ahead and end it on